The Thai BL series Between Us has a fantastic example of collaborative storytelling. An actor's decision to remove one detail from a critical scene in the novel led to the writer and director incorporating that choice into the main series. Here's the context. Win is the vice president of the swim club, and Team is one of the newbies and already one of their strongest swimmers. Team takes competitions extremely seriously, but they're also a constant stress on him due to the survivor's guilt of seeing his older brother drown trying to save him as a child. As a result, Team struggles with insomnia and nightmares. So, the night before a qualifying competition, Team sneaks into the pool to practice since he can't sleep. In the water, he pushes himself too far, gets a leg cramp, and starts to sink. Win, who was walking by and noticed the lights on, goes inside, sees Team at the bottom of the pool, dives in, and rescues him. What happens next is different in the novel from the series. In fact, there are 3 iterations of the following scene. The original in the novel, the pilot teaser released in February of 2022, and episode 6 of the main series released in December of 2022. Let's see how we got from A to B to C. The novel scene goes like this. Pause to read. When this chapter was released, it was controversial among fans. First of all, because WinTeam had been beloved characters for years before BounPrem were even cast in 2020. Lazy Sheep started writing Hemp Rope in 2017 and posted adorable illustrations for it for years. She was still writing and posting chapters while the script for Between Us was being written. Also by her. So some fans of the characters were upset that Win would punch Team. Then you had the added concern from fans of BounPrem who didn't want to watch Boun punch Prem. Personally, I really like the novel scene. It gives Win, a character who is predominantly composed and responsible, a moment of raw anger and flawed humanity. According to the novel, his rebellious phase in high school mainly consisted of skipping class, dyeing his hair, and piercing his ears a lot to get attention from his parents. And until we meet again, Win is the one who talks Team down from intimidating Alex, and he's the one who gives rational advice to Dean. So this one violent act is very extreme and uncharacteristic for him. He was alone when he walked into the building and saw Team at the bottom of the pool. If he hadn't acted as fast as he did, he would have had to watch Team drown and live with the same trauma Team has. However, I've drawn a line in my head between novel WinTeam and series WinTeam. Novel WinTeam are Lazy Sheep's creation, so what they do and say and think and feel are primarily decided by her and her editor. Series WinTeam, however, were created through the close collaboration of Lazy Sheep acting as scriptwriter, adapting her own work for the screen, along with New, the director, and WinTeam's actors, Boun and Prem. Plus, opinions and reactions from fans and professionals affiliated with the series likely also shaped their development along the way. Boun's Win has always had a casual, insouciant kind of charisma that feels inherently non-threatening, whereas novel Win sometimes feels more like a dude. A good dude, but a dude nonetheless. Then we have Prem's Team, who is, simply put, wonderful, whereas novel Team is also, you know, kind of a dude. Take the hookup scene in the beginning as an example. In the novel, there's no conversation about consent. There's no careful check by Win that Team's sober and aware of what's going on. It's literally just what you'd expect from 2 college boys. Light banter, and then Win gives Team a hand while they're still outside, in the bushes. And that's fine! It's realistic. It's probably happening somewhere right now. But the consent scene in Between Us is arguably one of the most beloved in the series, simply because it conveys Win's self-control, respect for Team, and strong ethical core. Having that scene at the end of episode 1 cements the audience's first impression of Win as a character who thinks before he acts. It's also worth noting that in the novel, Team sneaking into the pool is framed as a bad thing that he knows he could get in trouble for. He doesn't casually tell Manao or anyone that he's going like he does in the series. He's just sleep-deprived and in a bad headspace, so he sneaks into the pool knowing it's going to get him in trouble if he's caught. As Win says, he could be suspended and lose his scholarship. So in essence, He isn't framed as Team the Terribly Tragic. He's exhausted, sure, but he's also being irresponsible and he knows it. And because Win and Team in the novel are more dudes, that also gives them an added feeling of dudes being guys who punch. It's not right or good of Win to do, but for me the situation made sense for the characters as they are in the novel. Which leads us to... the pilot teaser was our first visual of the scene, released in February of 2022. BounPrem practiced the punch with New on set multiple times before they started rolling. So, despite the controversy, it was fully in the cards as something they were going to do. But then, in the middle of the scene itself, Boun made a different choice. He skipped the punch. He said he didn't feel like Win would ever hit Team. And this is where I have a ton of respect for New and Sheep for their production. They listened to him, and they actually incorporated his choice into the canon. In the same pilot teaser where Boun literally pulled his punches, Prem cried after singing, even though the script didn't mention anything about Team crying. New had just told him to feel what Team was feeling, so when Lazy Sheep asked him why he made that choice, Prem said, "I just think Team would cry." While Between Us was airing, Lazy Sheep did a Twitter space with fans where she said Prem had been devotedly asking her if he was portraying Team correctly. She told him, warmly, that he knew how to play Team, and the version he portrays in the series is Team, but a Team who is fully Prem's. Great adaptations have to be allowed to become their own creation. Boun and Prem lived with those characters in their hearts for so long that they had their own readings of how they felt and breathed. Boun loved Win so much he said he felt empty when they wrapped up filming. Prem loved Team so much he asked Sheep over and over and over to confirm and reconfirm that WinTeam got a happy ending. This was their passion project. WinTeam gave them their fame, and in return, BounPrem tried to do them justice on screen. The final iteration of the scene is in episode 6 of the series, where we get the highest emotion and strongest acting choices. I think Boun might have ad-libbed this line a bit, which made it my favorite line delivery of the whole scene. His voice breaks because Win is so angry, and the pitch is so much higher than Win usually speaks, so it underscores how out of his mind and beyond rationality he is. Then we get to the raised fist. What I love about this sequence are the 3 shots we get in succession. Fist, face, and a combination of both. The action, the emotion, and the realization. We see the moment Win realizes what he was about to do, what he can't do, and what he chooses instead. They took Boun's character choice from the pilot and built on it beautifully. His raised fist in the pilot teaser is quick and angry and impulsive, but the main series shows him shaking and angry and terrified. Win has the impulse, but he's a rational person at his core. So the sight of Team accepting whatever Win is going to do to him because he believes he deserves it is what snaps Win out of it. Hemprope doesn't deeply explore Win's insecurities and flaws, but Between Us needed to because it shines a spotlight on both of them. To make this a full and complete series, they needed to add to the novel Lazy Sheep created. And despite some qualms I have with the rest of the series, I believe that Boun and Prem's contributions to their characters, delivered from a place of love for them, really elevated WinTeam from comic relief side characters in Until We Meet Again to icons in their own right, in their own series.